The Jack Files. This body's not big enough for both of us. Don Greenberg. Chapter 1. Have you ever known somebody who was really annoying but you just couldn't get rid of them? That's the way I felt about this old lady I met. Probably her being dead made her even more annoying. Oh, did I mention she was a ghost? Well, she was. I guess I should begin at the beginning. My name is Jack. I'm 10 and a half, and I go to the Horse-Hide White School for Boys. That's in New York City. Ever since my parents got divorced, I've lived half of the time with my dad. He's a freelance writer, which means he gets to work at the home a lot. The time I want to tell you about started when the dad was writing this article about the new Madame Chanteuse Wax Museum. There's been a Madame Chanteuse Wax Museum in London for years. In it are wax dummies of famous people, both dead and alive, and they look amazingly lifelike. At least that's what the people say. The new Madame Tussauds is the Times Square. Dad took me there on Friday evening for a special preview for reporters and the VIPs. I was pretty excited. The night we went, they were holding a séance as a publicity stunt. A séance is when a bunch of people get together in a dark room and try to get a ghost to talk to them. Before the seance got started, Dad and I looked around the museum. There were wax dummies of just about every famous person who ever lived. Kings, queens, generals, baseball players, movie stars, murderers, you name it. Not all of the dummies were finished. Some of the kings and the queens were still without heads, but most of them were done. They stood in the dim light, staring out at you. They looked so real. It was spooky. The seance was being held in a small theater in the museum. On the stage in the theater was a long table with a bunch of people sitting down around it. I guess we were the last to arrive. "Oh, there you are, my dears," called a lady at the table. She wore a big turban with ostrich feathers sticking out of it, and a jacket with lots of beads on it. We were beginning to fear that something dreadful had happened to you. "Sorry we're late," said Dad. "Well, come up on stage, and let's get started," called the lady with the turban. "The dead are dying to speak to us." I giggled. I thought she was kidding, but she wasn't smiling. Neither were the other people at the table. There were four of them besides the turban lady. There was a guy with a bushy white beard, and two ladies with white hair and very pink cheeks. There was a man with this pasty-looking, yellowish skin who looked kind of dead himself. Not that I'd ever seen dead people. "I want the young man to sit next to me," said the fat old lady, smiling at me. I shrugged, and sat down next to her. I don't usually like to sit next to ladies who wear turbans and feathers, but I was too polite to refuse. "Hi," I said. "I'm Jack." And I, of course, am the famous Madame Pumpa. Madame Pumpa held out her hand to me, but it was bent down at the wrist, so it was hard to shake. Sometimes in movies, queens do that. You're supposed to kiss their hand. I wasn't about to kiss anything. I grabbed her wrist and shook it. Her skin was ice cold. On the table was a crystal ball and a huge wax candle. "Are you ready to speak with the dead?" she asked me. She was smiling, but I could tell she was serious. "I guess so," I said. "I'll bet you've never spoken to the dead before," said the pasty looking guy. He had kind of a fake smile on his face. "I guess not," I said. "What about Wanda?" said Dad. "All right," I answered. "Once this really bratty photologist trusted my dad's apartment. She talked to me. Her name was Wanda." "Poltergeist don't talk," said the pasty-looking guy. "This one did," I said. "Not with the boys." She spelled out messages on the ceiling with peanut M&Ms. "He's telling the truth," said Dad. "I was there." "How marvelous!" said one of the white-haired ladies. "But why peanut M&Ms?" "We were out of the plain ones," I said. "All right," said Madame Poopai. "Now let us begin." She nodded and closed her eyes. The lights in the theater got very dim, and then went out. The crystal ball started glowing. I don't know how she did it. "Let us all join hands," said Madame Pumpa softly to us. "Join hands and clear our minds." Dad took one of my hands, and Madame Pumpa took the other. Her hand was cold as a frozen TV dinner. That really creeped me out. Also, she smelled like garlic. "This is Madame Pumpa," she said in a louder voice. "We are calling to spirits on the other side. Is there anyone on the other side who would like to speak to us?" There was no answer. I was pretty sure that what she meant by the other side wasn't Russia. It meant the spirit world. "Anyone at all on the other side who would like to chat?" she said. "Please come forward, my dears, and make yourselves known to us." There still was no answer. "We are here, 7 of us, eager to speak to the spirits of the departed," said Madame Pompadour. "Everyone at all who cares to speak to us, please give us some sign." "Maybe they're all at the movie or something," I said. Everybody but Dad gave me a dirty look. "Shh," said Madame Pompadour. "Sometimes it takes them a while to get through to us. It's quite difficult for the dead to communicate with the living." There still was no answer. Then I heard a weird high-pitched noise. It was coming from Madame Pompadour. I wanted her to stop, but I was so afraid to tell her. Then something even weirder happened. I felt a kind of tingling from Madame Pompadour's hand. Then something That felt like a slight electric shock. It reminded me of the time I accidentally electrocuted myself in science class and started reading minds. Then I heard a ghostly sound, ghostly voice. Who dares to disturb the spirits of the dead? It said. It was the voice of a very grouchy old lady. It had a strong British accent. But the weirdest thing about the voice was it was coming from me. Chapter 2. Jack, is that you? Whispered my dad. Please don't horse around anymore, son. The people here are very serious about this sense. Dad, I whispered, I'm not horsing around. And then, without even knowing I was going to do it, I said in this grouchy British old lady voice, and we shall thank you not to speak to us unless spoken to. I mean, I mean it, Jack. I mean it, Jack said that. This is no joke. These people are here to try to communicate with the dead, and I'm going to write about it. If you keep horsing around like this, we'll both have to leave, I sighed. Dad, I swear to you, I'm not horsing around, I said. I don't know what's happening, but it's nothing I'm doing, honest. He's telling the truth, said Madame Pompey. It isn't something Jack is doing, at least not on purpose. But the voice of that grouchy old British gull came from Jack, said the dad. I know, I'm sitting right next to him. That the grouchy old British gull? I said, or somebody inside me said. That the grouchy old British gull? You dare to speak of Her Highness as that grouchy old British girl. Voice, voices coming from inside of me? This was really freaking me out. How could this be happening? I think I know what's happening here, said the guy with the British white beard. A spirit of the departed has chosen Jack. It will speak through Jack. This is wonderful. Your son must be very physic, psychic, said Madame Pumpa to my dad. She turned to me. Are you psychic, my dear? No, I said. But I did read minds one day in science class after I almost got electrocuted, and there was another time I spoke to dolphins by ESP. Then that's it. Madame Pompadour told Dad. Your son has the gift. He's channeling a spirit from the other side. Usually that sort of thing happens to me, but some for some reason it's happening to Jack instead. This is a great honor. Jack, do you realize what a great honor this is? Seize this infernal rocket, said the voice inside of me. "Who is speaking through Jack?" asked Madame Pompa in a creepy voice. "Please, spirit, tell us your name." "The Queen does not answer questions," I said in the weird British voice. The way I said "answer" made it sound like answer. "Pardon me, your highness," said Madame Pompa. "I did not mean to offend you. Pray to me. 3. Pray tell me, which queen am I speaking to?" "Which queen? Which queen?" "We are Victoria, you nincompoop." Queen Victoria of England, said the guy with the bushy white beard. Hey, this is great. I've never met her before. This is indeed an honor. Queen Victoria, said Madame Pompa. What can we do for you, Your Majesty? What can you do for us? You can take us to the bloody WC. That's what you can do for us. The what? I asked in my normal voice. WC means water closet, Madame Pompaille whispered. In England, the water closet means the toilet. Jack, she wants you to take her to the bathroom. But I don't have to go, I said, a little embarrassed. Well, maybe she does, said one of the white-haired ladies. Say, may I could take her? I'd like to visit the restaurant myself. How could you take her, Mildred? Asked the other white-haired lady. The queen is inside of Jack, not you. Good point, said Mildred. We do not care who takes us, I said in the queen's voice, but somebody had better take us right now before we have an accident. What's this wee business? I asked again in my normal voice. She's speaking in the royal we, explained Madame Pompeii. All kings and queens speak that way and use we instead of I. Are we going to the bloody WC or are we going to have an accident? I shouted. Dad, what should I do? I whispered in my normal voice. I guess you'd better take her to the bloody WC, said Dad. Chapter 3. Once I got down off the stage and out into the lobby, the restrooms were right downstairs. I strutted downstairs and pushed open the door of the men's room. A man about my dad's age was drying her hands at the hot air blower. What is this place? I shouted in the queen's voice. The man looked at me, startled. That's the men's restroom, said the man. What did you think it was? I know it's the men's restroom, I said. It wasn't me who asked you. It was the Queen of England inside me named Victoria. The man stopped drying his hands and slipped quietly out the door. This is not a proper WC. This is a men's restroom. Why have you taken us to a men's restroom? Because I'm a guy. Your Highness, because I'm a guy, Your Highness, I said. Take us to a ladies' restroom. But I'm not a lady, Your Highness, I said. I can't go in there. Another man walked inside and headed toward the urinals. Do it now, I said in Queen's voice. The man looked nervously in my direction. I will not go to the ladies' restroom, I said under my breath, and that's for sure. Go to the ladies' restroom immediately, and that's a lawyer command. Being careful not to look in my direction, the man walked quickly out of the room. Well, I'm a citizen of the United States of America, I said, and I don't take commands from anybody but the president and my dad. We shall see about that. And then, even though I'd just about decided that I had to go to the bathroom after all, I felt my legs started walking me out of the room. Hey, I said, what are you doing? I tried to head back toward the urinal, but my legs wouldn't let me. I smacked my head into the door on the way out. "Stop this," I said. "I don't care if you're a queen. I am not taking orders from you." My legs carried it through the lobby to the ladies' room. "No way am I going to the ladies' room," I said. "No way am I going through that door." My legs headed right for the door of the ladies' room, just before they carried me through it. I reached out and grabbed the doorway on each side with both hands and hung on tight. "Let go! Let go of this doorway immediately!" "No way," I said. A stuffy-looking lady walked up to me. She was some kind of museum guide. "And what, may I ask, are you doing, young man?" she asked me. "Trying not to go into the ladies' room," I said. "I beg your pardon," said the lady. "I'm trying not to go in here." "I don't want to go into the ladies' room." "Well, I should hope not," she said. "This is too tiresome," I said in the queen's room. "Return us to the seance immediately, if not sooner." I was pretty relieved to hear myself say that. When I got back to the seance, I got straight to the point. "Madame Pompeii," I said, "I'd really like you to get this queen out of me. She's a royal pain." "You don't want her?" said Mildred. "Then give her to me." "No, me," said her friend. "I'd love to have Queen Victoria inside of me." "Ladies, ladies," said Madame Pompeii, "one cannot simply give a spirit away. A spirit is not a bongola sandwich. A spirit decides who it wishes to inhabit, and when it wishes to live. Then we all want spirits of our own, like Jack," said the bearded guy. "Yeah," said the pasty-looking guy. "I want one too." "People, listen to me," Madame Pompeii said. "You think I have spirits in a bag and can just pass them like lollipops? I do not. Besides, if anyone deserves to have a Queen Victoria move into her, it is I. You know, Jack, if I were you, I'd realize what an honor it is to have a member of royalty inside of me. I'd try to get used to her. She won't stay forever, and when she does leave, you may wish she hadn't." Yeah, right. Chapter 4. When I woke up Saturday morning, I was itchy and stiff, like I'd run a marathon the day before. I couldn't stand up straight. I walked bent over like an old man. "Jack, what's wrong with you?" Dad asked when he saw me. "You're walking like you're about 80 years old." "Well," I said, "that's because we are 80 years old." "Okay, that settles it," said Dad. "Jack, I'm taking you and Victoria to Dr. Krom- Krompotkin." Dad made a quick call to the doctor's office. I had a feeling that Dr. Kropotkin doesn't have all that many patients. He is always able to fit us in without an appointment. We were there in 20 minutes. Then Dr. Kropotkin tried to look down on my throat and listen to my heart. The queen kept shoving him away. He acted like there was nothing weird about it. Well, said the doctor, Kropotkin, putting away his stethoscope, stethoscope that completes my examination of Jack. And what did you find? Said Dad. I find everything absolutely normal. Really? Said Dad. For an 80-year-old woman, said Dr. Propokin. And this is peculiar. I distinctly heard two two heartbeats. Why do you suppose that would be? Possibly because I've got a Queen Victoria inside of me, I said. Oh, then that would definitely explain it, said Dr. Kropotkin. He snapped his clipboard shut. So, is there anything else? Dad and I looked at each other. Don't you have any suggestions, Doctor? Dad asked. For what? Said the Doctor Kropotkin. For getting her out of me, I answered. And you don't want to do that because she's annoying, I said. She makes me pee in public ladies' rooms. She orders me around. She makes me say these really embarrassing things. I haven't heard her say anything, said Dr. Kropotkin. Well, you saw her shaving you before. Maybe she's sleeping now, I said. She takes a lot of naps. I guess because she's so old. Old? You think us old? That really hurts our feelings. See what I mean? He said. Mm-hmm, said Dr. Kropotkin. Have you ever seen anything like this? Dad asked. Not so much with queens, said Dr. Kropotkin. What can I do? I asked. Drink plenty of fruits, rest in bed, gargle with salt water, and call me in the morning, said Dr. Kropotkin. And will that help? I doubt it, said the Dr. Kropotkin. I think that there's only one person who can help us, said that Madame Pompeii. Chapter 5. Dad got Madame Pompeii's address from the guard at Madame Chantu Moak's museum. Dad said he needed it for the article he was writing. I felt funny about going to her for help, especially on a Saturday. But if anybody knew how to get Queen Victoria out of my body, it was the person who got her in there in the first place. Well, my dears, said Madame Pompeii, opening the door of her apartment, what a surprise to see you two again. Can we come in? I said. Of course, she said. Come in. We walked into her apartment. There was weird music playing on her stereo, and there was a weird smell, like burning leaves. What's the smell? I asked. Is something on fire? That's incense, said Madame Pompeii. It helps me relax. Oh, and what about the music? The sitar music, said Dad. From India. Do you like it? I'm not sure, I said. It sounds a little too spooky to me. Madame Pompeii laughed. So, Jack, she said, how about you feeling today, my dear? Well, I'm not feeling like my old self. In fact, I'm feeling more and more like Her Majesty, Queen Victoria, Queen of England and Ireland, Empress of India. I finished in Queen's voice. Madame Pompeii raised her eyebrows. Also, it is time for high tea, and we have not been offered so much as a scone. See, I said in my normal voice. Forgive my rudeness, your highness, said Madame Pompeii. I was just about to take the high tea with cones myself. May I serve you now? Hmm. Well, be quick about it, I said in the queen's voice. Right away, your highness, said Madame Pompeii. She went into the kitchen and came out carrying a silver tray. On it were a teapot, some cups, and something that looked like a little pointy rose. What are those pointy things? I asked. Scones, she said. English people like them with their tea. I do too. Here. She poured a cup of hot tea and handed it to me. Oh, no thanks, I said. I'm not too crazy about tea. Thanks. Just the same. Drink it. Shh, I said. I took the tea, but I didn't drink it. Drink it. I drank it. I burned my mouth. Ouch, I said. That's not how to drink tea. Who taught you how to drink tea? Nobody taught me how to drink tea, I said. I don't know how to drink tea. I don't like tea. Learn how to like it. That's a lawyer order. You can't just order somebody to like that, like something. Yeah. Oh yes, we can. We looked at Madame Pompeii. What should I do here? I asked her. She shrugged. Learn to like tea, I guess, she asked. Great, I said. Listen, Madame Pompeii, I really need your help. How can I ever get the Queen Victoria out of my body? Why don't we ask her? Your Majesty, Jack would like to know when you plan to leave his body. We heard him. We may be dead, but we are not deaf. Sorry, your majesty, said Madame Pompeii. We shall go then when we are good and ready to go, and not a minute sooner. Didn't you know it's rude for a host to ask a guest to leave? A guest is somebody you invite, I said, meaning no respect. Your Highness, I didn't invite you to stay in my body. Sure, we just dropped in. You know, you do have a point there, but we are not yet ready to leave. You know, said Madame Pompeii, spirits usually appear to the living for a reason. We must try to find out what the Queen Victoria's reason is for coming here. We do not care to reveal our reason yet, I said in the Queen's voice, but as long as we are here, why don't you show us about? We should like to see the sights. You want to see the sights in my apartment? Said Madame Pompeii. Not the sights in your apartment, you nincompoop. The sights in New York. I looked at Madame Pompeii. I think you'd better show her around New York, she said. Chapter 6. Have you ever shown an out-of-town guest around your city? It can be lots of fun, but not if you're a cranky old dad, Queen of England. First of all, first of all, Queen Victoria refused to ride on either buses or subways. She said that was for peasants. She demanded to be taken around in cabs. That said, we didn't have enough money to do that, but she insisted. So Dad and I set off to show her the city. Then regular cabs weren't good enough for her. She'd heard there were horse-drawn carriages in New York. She wanted to be driven around in one of those. Dad told her they only have horse-drawn carriages in Central Park. She was pretty grumpy about that. She insisted we take her to see Queens. When we got there, she was pretty disappointed. "Where are they?" she kept asking. "Where are they? Where where are who?" "The Queens?" "There are no Queens in Queens," I said. "What? Queens in the same of the borough of New York," Dad explained. "Humph." So we went back to Manhattan. We took her to some of the great New York department stores. We took her to the top of the Empire State Building. "Why do they call it the Empire State Building?" she asked. "This building is not in the British Empire." Then she said she missed speaking to royalty and asked to go to White Castle, Burger King, and the Dairy Queen. We saw them from the taxi. We told her those are just the places to eat the hamburgers and the ice cream, and she got kind of depressed. Every 15 minutes we had to stop for tea, tea and scones, tea and crumpets, tea and tiny sandwiches so small that I could have put 6 of them into my mouth at once, which I did, which Dad did not appreciate. And after drinking all that tea, we had to go to the water closet a lot, too. I don't even want to talk about it. She wanted to go to the Statue of Liberty and walk upstairs to the torch. By the time we got to Belder's Island in New York Harbor, which is where the Statue of Liberty is, I was exhausted. We stood in a long line for about half an hour. At last, we got to the head of the line. Just as we were about to go into the statue, a uniformed guy held up his hand. "That's it, folks," he said. "No more for tonight. We're closing." There were moans and groans from the people behind us. "Couldn't you just let in a few more people?" Dad asked him. "Nope," he said. "We're closing. Come back to get tomorrow." "But we'd been waiting in line for half an hour," I said. "Tough, kid," he answered. "This is an outrage. We demand that we step aside and allow us to enter immediately." The guard cocked his head and looked at me strangely. "Excuse me?" he said. "Listen," I said in my normal voice. "That wasn't me just now. I—" "Stand aside, young man. Get lost, kid," said the guide. He put his hands on the hips. "Constable! Summon a constable!" People stared at me. I was so embarrassed. I wanted to die. "This isn't really me talking," I said to the people in back of me. "It's just a little complicated to explain, but that wasn't the real me you heard just now." They just stared at me. Then a uniformed policeman trotted up. "What's the trouble here?" he asked. "Oh, constable, thank heavens you're here," I said in Queen's voice. "The ruffian refuses to let us enter the statue. We demand that he be severely punished." "You demand he'd be severely punished?" said the cop. "Quite right," said in the Queen's voice. "Oh well, if you demand it, then I guess we have to follow your orders." "Orders," she said. "Exactly," I said in the Queen's voice. But I think he was being sarcastic. sarcastic, sarcastic. And the reason I should follow your orders is that you are the Queen of England. I see, he said. The Queen of England. Well, I'm sure honored to be in your presence, Your Highness. Good, I said in the Queen's voice. Let them in. The policeman told the guard. The people in the back first grumbled a lot, but there was nothing they could do. I think the cop let us in because he figured I was some crazy kid and he felt sorry for that. Anyway, we walked all the way up to the torch. Queen Victoria complained about the old stairs, but it was pretty cool at the top, I had to admit. By the time we got back to that apartment, I was so tired I could barely make it inside. Just then the phone rang. Dad answered it, talked for a while, then turned to me. Jack, he said, you'll never guess who's calling. Who? I said. I asked. Queen Elizabeth? No, Great-Grandpa Maurice. My great-grandpa Maurice, in case you didn't know, died and came back as a cat. He's living down in Florida and is looked after by a very nice lady named Bernice. We see him every once in a while. Last time I was at the arcade show at the Madison Square Garden. We had asked for his help. The problem that time was that I'd seen scratched by a weird cat and had started turning into a cat myself. I took the phone. Hi, Maurice, I said. Jack, said Maurice. It's great to hear your voice. Not growing whiskers and the tail again, are you? He laughed at his little joke. Nope, I said. Oh, too bad, he said. We could have had a great time lying in the sun and licking ourselves. So, what's new? Not too much, I said, except that Dad took me to the seance, and the ghost got inside me, and now she refuses to leave. Boy, I hate when that happens, said Maurice. I could hear him take a long puff on his cigar and blow out the smoke. I told him how dangerous smoking is. He laughs and says he's already dead. So, what's the worst that could happen to him? Listen, probably, said Maurice. There's a big inventors convention at the Javits Center going on now. As you know, I'm quite an inventor myself. I'm bringing my latest demos to the convention. So come down and see me there. That's great, I said. I was really glad Mercy was coming. If anyone could help me get rid of Queen Victoria, it was Morris. When are you coming? Sunday, said Morris. Tomorrow. Cool, I said. By the time, what's your new invention? Uh, disposable disappear for puppies, he said. I call it Poop Doggy Dog. Chapter 7. The Javits Center is this huge glass building on the west side of Manhattan. It's not very tall, but it takes up maybe 3 square blocks. The inventors' convention had already been going on a couple of days by the time we got there Sunday afternoon, and the place was a madhouse. There were about 1 million people there. They were all trying to sell their inventions. Wherever you looked there were booths set up with the nastiest inventions you could ever dream of. Hey, here's something you could use, said Dad. He pointed to a Got it? Got that? That looked like a regular thermometer, only it had a couple of bulbs on the end of it. It was called the "Ya Give Me Fever Thermometer Warmer." It's for kids who want to fake sickness to stay home from school. That doesn't work with you, I said. Heck, you made me go to school once when I was invisible. Well, you weren't running a fever, and you know our rule about it. We looked all over the place for Morris. So far we didn't see him. A rare red-haired woman wearing a shiny gold jumpsuit and large glasses with red frames came up to us. "Howdy there," she said. "Would you like to see an invention of mine called the cat that ate my homework paper shoulder?" "You bet," I said. She showed us a flat metal box with rows of sharp teeth. It turns any sheet of paper with the writing on it into what looks like a cat chewed homework, she said proudly. Pockets of baked silver sold separately. We thanked her and moved on. Now, we were in the pet section. I figured that was where Morse booth was located. "Hello there," said a man with a wild look in his eye. He wore a red blazer, a polka dot plastic bow tie, and a straw hat with a huge plastic dog bone on top of it. "Are you folks manufacturers?" "No, we're not," I said. "Is this your invention here?" "Not one, but three," he said proudly. "First, we have the Bonhams and the Bailey Flea Circus, the dog collar for pet owners who are too soft-hearted to kill their pet's fleas." "That's cool," I said. "Have you ever had a goldfish that died?" he asked. "Of course. Well, then you will appreciate that. This is my flush of fish funnel kit for toilet briars. It comes complete with a tiny water soluble coffin, a cassette of organ music, and a short service for all religions. "I like that," I said that. "And to avoid the problem altogether," said the guy with the plastic dog bone on his head, "I've invented this." He held out a small orange plastic fish with a hinged tail. "Never has say die, Dave, the battery powered goldfish. You will never find the floating belly up at the top of your aquarium. Batteries not included." That's when I spotted him. "Dad, look," I said. "There's Maurice." About 10 yards away was a booth with the big yellow sign on top of it. "Poop Doggy Dog, the first disposable diaper for pups." Sitting behind the table piled high with puppy diapers was a plump lady about the age of my grandma Leah. It was Bernice. And curled up in a basket on the table was the big gray cat who was my great-grandpa. "Maurice!" I yelled. The gray tomcat perked up his ears. Then he saw us. "Dan! Jack! Bubbler!" he called. Dad and I rushed over to the booth. We kissed Bernice hello. I hugged Maurice and scratched him behind the ears. You guys look great, I said. So do you guys, said Maurice. Did you bring your nude friend? You mean Queen Victoria? I said. Yes, said Maurice. Hey, Vicky, come on out and say hello. Queen Victoria didn't answer. Hey, Vicky, open your mouth and tell us something. What's the matter? Cat got your tongue. Maurice cracked himself up over that. Sometimes she's very quiet, I said. She might be sleeping. Sleeping in the middle of the day? Only pussycats do that. Hey, Vicky, are you turning into a pussycat like me? Or what? We are most certainly not a pussycat, and our name is not certainly not Vicky. You may address us as Your Highness or Your Majesty, or you may not address us at all. Oh, come off it, Cookie. Drop the fancy schmancy talk, said Maurice. I bet you have a lot in common. Whose? What can we possibly have in common? Well, for one thing, we're both old geezers who happen to be dead, said Maurice. For another, I bet we know some of the same people. How serve a common alley cat and the Queen of England? Oh, I don't know, said Maurice casually. How about a certain somebody by the name of Prince Albert? Prince Albert? Which Prince Albert? Albert. Prince Albert of Saxe Coburg, said Maurice. How dare you speak the name of my dear departed husband? I said in the Queen's voice. How I dare. Dollface is that the AR and the I are buddies. All and the I are buddies. We hang out together all the time down in Florida. He was reincarnated as an English sheepdog. You're calling my sainted husband a dog? This is an outrage. Okay, Toots, you don't believe me. I can understand that an old pussycat tells you your that hobby is now a sheepdog in Miami. I can see why you might not believe that, but what if I offered you proof? What sort of proof could you possibly offer? Proof. Well, let's see. R introduced me to an old buddy of yours, Lord Mandourne, your first Prime Minister, your big buddy and advisor. I know who Lord Wellborn it was. Yeah, well, Mel, that's what we call him. Mel is now a hamster. Mel told me you hate the archobis. You could have read that anywhere. It said in Victoria's voice. But there was something in her voice I had never heard before. I guess so, said Morris, but I doubt I could have read some of the personal things your husband all told me, like the pet name he had for you, Pumpsy, Poopy, Poopsy Pie. I felt a sob catchy in my throat. It was the weirdest feeling because I wasn't sad, and then I started crying. I told the old Arn I was going to be talking to you this weekend, said Maurice gently. He said, "Be sure and give my love to Pussy Pie." I started crying so hard I could hardly catch my breath. Then the Bernice looked really worried. "Yeah, that's the matter, son? What's the matter, son? Are you okay?" Dad asked. Bernice handed me a handkerchief. I blew my nose into it big time, and then I just started bubbling. "Maurice, thank you for the message from my sweet husband, Albert." We are so sorry for doubting you. So sorry. We miss him so much, so very much. Hey, he said, don't worry about it, cutie. People doubt me all the time, probably because of the cat suit. So, what brings you to New York? We heard Madame Pompeii was holding a seance, seance, seance. We had some business here, and the seances are good places to contract the living. What kind of business? Asked Louisa. It has to do with the new wax museum. The wax museum said that. What business do you have with the wax museum, Your Highness? That wax dummy they have of me in the London Museum. It looks so dreadful, so old and fat and frumpy. We wanted to make sure that the one in the new museum looked better, younger, and prettier. We're so sick of being thought of as a frumpy old queen. Aha! So that was what was bothering Queen Victoria. We were young once, too, you know. So were we all, said Morris. You should have seen how cute I was as a youngster of 65. If only they could show us as a young Victoria alongside our beloved husband Albert. Your Highness said that. I happen to know one of the people who runs the new Madame Champo's Max Museum. If you like, I could talk to him about that. I think he might like making you younger and prettier with Albert by your side. Are you serious? Of course, said Dad. Tomorrow's Monday. I'll go and talk to him about it tomorrow. Oh, what be what that would be marvelous. We thank you. We thank you from the bottom of our loyal heart. Your Highness, I said it in my normal voice. Now that my dad is going to get you what you came to New York for, maybe you decide leaving my body. Well, hey Don, said Marisa, how's about coming back down to Miami with us? I know a certain English sheepdog who'd be mighty glad to see you. But how could we do that? Morris, easy, said Morris. Why don't you just jump out of Jack's body and hop right into Bernie's? Hey, said Bernice, don't I have anything to say about who goes hopping into my body? Of course, Bonus, you mind if Vicky hitches a ride off to Miami inside you? Bonus said. I guess not, she said. Great, so Vicky, said Morris, how's about it? Want to go to Florida and meet a pooch, you know? For a moment there was no answer. Then suddenly a blinding flash of light and a huge puff of smoke. It felt like all the air was being sucked out of my lungs. I landed on the floor. Bernice was on the floor beside me. She looked confused and dizzy. Bernice, pussycat, you okay? Asked Bernice. Marisa Bernice shook her head to clear it. Then, we would love to come with you to Florida, said Bernice in a crisp voice. We cannot wait to see dear Albert again. So anyway, that's what happened. That when the inventors convention was over, we all went out of water for high tea and scones. Then Bernice and Marcia hopped into a cab and went to the airport. I'd never had to visit another ladies' restroom. About a week later, Marcy called. Hey Jack, he said, how are you doing? Great, thanks to you. It sure is nice not to have a British old lady voices coming out of my mouth. How are you and Bernice? Couldn't be better, kid. We sold the poop doggy dog to a cat supplies manufacturer in Detroit. Now we are trying to sell our new idea The uppers for pigeons. And what happened to Queen Victoria? Did she get together with Prince Albert? Oh yes, that old English sheepdog was pretty happy about it too. I found a Bangkent farmer Snoozer who lived next door, and Vicky moved right into her. Don't you just love happy endings? The end.